You're listening to the Joe Kamo Show. Real sports, real talk.
All right, special guest on today, Ryan Dynamite Dickson. Did you ever get a nickname yet or no?
I have a few, man. A lot of the guys that I've been training with call me Big Swinging.
Yeah.
But no, I don't. I'm just me, man. I'm nothing special. I want to just be Ryan Dickson. That's what I am. There's no alter ego. There's no it's just me, you know?
All right. So a lot of people probably don't know you. I have a big fantasy football audience that I'm moving over to the Joe Kamo Show, which is basically like a sports talk. I just started this. You're like episode 7. I'm going to stop counting the episodes after a while, but it's so fresh and new. I just had Benil Dariush on. I don't know if you know him. He's a top 11 lightweight, fellow Assyrian of mine, based out of the U.S. He's an animal. He's in a 5-fight win streak. I just had it. So I'm warmed up. I'm ready to talk MMA. I'm in that groove. So let's talk about you. So who are you and what do you do?
My name's Ryan Dickson, and right now I'm known for fighting. I'm going to be fighting on XFC's card out in Atlanta on November 11th, but I'm also just as seriously trying to get on as a full-time firefighter somewhere.
Okay, so this XFC, a lot of people not familiar with it. I know UFC. So what's the difference between XFC and UFC?
XFC is like a UFC, like a Bellator. They're a good show, man. They're putting on a good promotion. They're professional. They've got good fighters. They're holding a tournament right now, so they're kind of like a top dog that's not the UFC. Put it that way.
All right, so when is the fight here? You got this big fight coming up, and you haven't fought in a while. So what's the story? Can you kind of give us a background of your story? Because you haven't been fighting for years. Then I saw you. Are you headlining this event? It's on NBC Sports. This is kind of a big deal, right?
I am not headlining. I'm part of the there are 2 tournaments that are starting on the 11th. There's a 155-pound tournament and a 170-pound tournament, which is what I'm in. And we're under contract for 16 months, and if you win, you keep moving on, and the winner wins the tournament. So,
yes.
But yeah, I've been off for about 5 years now, and it was for a few reasons. The main reason being trying to get what I need for firefighting. I realized after 3 back-to-back losses that fighting is not really a secure life, you know?
Right.
And especially the way that my losses came, I was, for those who don't know, I was ranked 10. I was number 10, or I was 10-2. All my wins were by finish. And I was in talks with the UFC. And the fight that I was supposed to win to go on to the UFC, I ended up losing a close decision, and that devastated me. And I got into some trouble in my mind. I was down in the dumps, and it just wasn't good. And I took another fight. I lost that one. I took another fight. I lost that one, and that just crushed me. And I took a step back from competing in martial arts to really fully pursue firefighting. And then because of COVID and quarantine and everything, I had nothing to do but train. And I decided to make another run at it because I feel better than ever.
Yeah, a lot of people are so negative about the whole COVID thing. I think a lot of good things came out of it for me personally, including this show. And I'm glad that you'd be able to bounce out of it. So a lot of people don't know, Ryan and I used to train together. I did a little more casually than him. There's a point in my life where I thought I could take it seriously, and I just didn't have it. My mental game wasn't there. Like Ryan would be like, "Ryan, Joe, we got to train here." I'd be like, "I don't feel like training," and I just wasn't into it. I just felt that, I don't know, for me, it just wasn't for me, and I think I was in it for the wrong reasons. It was kind of for the fame and for the, I got to put my hands up and be a UFC fighter, and it was like a cool thing to do. And I guess my narcissism at the time just got the best of me, and I just was doing it for the wrong reasons. I think Ryan saw that in me, and you probably see that it just wasn't for me. I mean, I was good. I was scrappy. I just lacked the finesse, and I just didn't have what it took to kind of do it. I had a couple fights, just didn't like getting punched in the face. I was kind of paranoid with injuries and stuff like that. It just wasn't for me. And then I just kind of gravitated towards what I naturally want to do. So Ryan's been in my life for a long time. We met back, I don't know, probably like 2008, 2009. So we got a good history. So he's got a really good mental game. It's just from my experience, I guess he was doing really well. And then you kind of had that downswing. So again, you're back up. You're only 31 years old now, right? So you got lots of time.
Yeah. I actually just turned 31 in October. So now I'm in the prime. My injuries are healed. My intelligence is up. I've started to realize what a big difference fight IQ plays and what a big difference the mental game plays. And I feel like that was one of the areas where, like, you had all the physical gifts. When you were fighting, it was like you were one of my main training partners, man. So
Yeah.
we were right there. It was just you had so many other projects on the go. You were in sales, you were doing other things. And
Right.
with fighting, it's not for everyone, man. You got to completely focus on that, or else you're going to fight someone who is completely focused. And then it's a scary game to be like partially in, you know?
Yeah, you got to be all in. And at the time, I guess I was living on my own. I had a mortgage and I just had to pay that. And I had finances to deal with. And you were fortunate to live at home at the time. I could have lived at home. I just chose to be kind of on my own. And again, it's very tough trying to balance, a full-time job where you got the pressure of sales and mortgage and try to work out, 8 or 9 hours a day. It was really challenging for me. And again, I just didn't I kind of got anxiety going into the ring a little bit. Mind you, when I was throwing gloves, like I didn't feel it. Like I had the anxiety leading up to it. Maybe some people get that. But when I started throwing the gloves, you're in that mode and you're kind of in the zone. But then another thing I've learned with entrepreneurship, and when you do what you love, when you're in the zone, you got to really, really enjoy it. Enjoy it so much that everything else kind of gets pushed out. And I talked to Neil Dariush. He goes, he hates the weight cuts. He hates everything about it. He hates having to get up early to run and train. But when he's in that fight, he's like, I just love it. I'm in my zone. And I think maybe, do you agree with that? Are you kind of in your zone? But how do you feel about the whole kind of situation about fighting?
I don't know. It's a love-hate thing. I love training. I love the whole thing. Like,
Yeah.
I don't weight cut. So like right now I'm 173 and I'm fighting out. I need to weigh 171 and I'm a few days out, which is like crazy. I used to cut big and I didn't like that. It's unhealthy. And I would feel the repercussions when I would have injuries. I'd have all those things, but I feel like fighting, or for me, it's more of I use it as therapy, to be honest, because I get in my head a lot. I'm a very passionate guy. I'm very empathetic, and I feel things a lot. And fighting is a way for me to let it loose. It's
Right.
a way for me to kind of unwind from all the things that are going on, especially right now. It's a way. I need this. I need to be able to train. I need to be able to push myself and get in that flow state, like you were saying with
Right.
entrepreneurship. That's the only thing. That's what that is for me for fighting.
Right. I'm fighting my own battles because it's very competitive. Whatever field you get into, I thought that leaving my sales job and getting into fantasy would be easy, but there's all this crap about like this corporate white collar BS politics and fantasy. Dude, it's fantasy football. Yet there's this whole industry and a big boys club, and I'm trying to break away from that. So I have my own fights in business that I battle every day, not only in fantasy but in the sports podcasting industry. But I got to tell you, I'm still fighting in my basement. I just bought an Airdyne, like an Echo bike. It's a Rogue Echo. It's a beast of bike. I got to assemble it. I got one of those, like, not a, what are those bags called where you have like the pivot on? It's like a speed bag, but it's on a mount.
Yep.
That I'm working on that, and I got a heavy bag. So to me, I'm in the zone, but just for a physical aspect of it, not for an actual fight. But in my mind, I always think that I am about to fight, but there is no fight. So I kind of train with that in my mindset. So where's your mindset going into this one? Are you more ready than you've ever been? And how have you mentally been able to prepare? Coming off those 3 losses, it's got to take a toll on you. I mean, so much time has passed at this point. You got to be like, I'm ready to go, fresh start. Let's leave the past in the past. Is that kind of the thought process?
Kinda. I the past is what fuels me, to be honest. All the setbacks, all the failures, all of those things, they eat at me every day. They fuel me to be more than I am. And sorry, one second. My dog's just falling off the couch there. they fuel me to be what I am. But the anxiety thing, I'm everyone says this, it's such a cliche, but I literally feel better than ever. When COVID hit, I got nervous just like everyone else, and I did my research. I did courses. I'm doing a human physiology course at Duke University so I can understand the body. I've done nutrition courses. I've done little disease courses that take like a week. And I started doing healthier lifestyle stuff, like I started with yoga when we were really locked down. I was doing yoga twice a day because I didn't have weights. I didn't have any of that stuff. But then a few friends of mine that are like me, Amr Ghonem, who is right now ranked number 2 ultra heavyweight purple belt in the world. He just got back from the pans for jiu-jitsu, and he got silver in his weight and absolute. And Guy Imperial, who's a super heavyweight or ultra heavyweight. He's very athletic, very good fighter. He's at Joslin's as well. But these guys, when we were all supposed to be locked down, we were going crazy. We had to do something, and we decided to train, and that was the hardest we've ever trained. We were saying in our life, it was just 3 months. I wasn't seeing anyone. I've been in my apartment by myself. They don't see anybody, so we literally would just meet up. That was our little isolation group, and we would train for hours every day, and we started getting improving. We thought, man, why don't we get ready there were some talk of tournaments that were supposed to be happening in the States, and we were going to get ready for that. And then we started getting wind of more people doing these little training groups, and it was only the serious guys, because everybody who's kind of half in is going to follow the rules. You know what I mean? And these guys that were this is our life, we decided to train, and then it just kept improving and piling on. And honestly, I've been wrestling with Olympians and guys getting ready for the world championships that are happening in December. And I'm taking these world-class wrestlers down. Remember when we used to talk when we were training, like GSP would want to wrestle with wrestlers, and I would go to Mayweather gym in
right. And you went to Thailand too, which was totally immersive as well.
Exactly. And I wanted to just hang with them. But now I'm taking these guys down. You know what I mean? Like I'm doing jujitsu. I'm a black belt now, and I'm doing jujitsu with these guys who are world ranked, like these guys from Brazil that still live here, these guys from that are competing and stuff, and I'm beating them. You know what I mean? Like it's back and forth. And then I'm wrestling with Olympians and guys getting ready for the worlds, and same thing. I'm beating them, and we're going back and forth. And then I'm striking with these guys that are throwing caution to the wind. And there's a guy, Aaron Jeffries, who's 4-0 now since COVID. Like I think he's fought 2 or 3 times since COVID, but he's undefeated. He's a 185er. There's Elias Theodoro, who's the guy's was at one point number 10 in the world for middleweight. I'm sparring with these guys, Ergis Sajeda, and Adam Asenza, these guys who are like top-notch guys. And in each area, I'm hanging, and not just hanging, like I'm beating them. So to me, I'm thinking, man, I got to fight. And then I was literally begging people on Instagram, whoever can find me a fight, get me a fight. And then XFC finally came through because of Rob Beavers got me this fight. And I'm so thankful because I feel better than ever, man, in every way,
I always believed in you, especially when I saw that. I believed in you initially because your work ethic was there. And then I saw your record. You're at 10-2 and you had all finishes. And then you had a bit of a down thing. And I don't know, you got clipped. And how did you lose those fights anyway? Wasn't it like, in a summary, did you just lose by getting clipped and decisions? And how was it?
So the first one, all of them were legit losses. Every single one was a legit loss. The first one was a very, very close war. I ended up, I lost to Jason Fisher, who's the toughest guy in Michigan, which is that's a tough statement. That's a big statement that he's the toughest guy in Michigan. That's what they all said when I went to the Ultimate Fighter tryouts. And I ended up losing a decision 3-2. But the kicker was this: I ended up getting him in a heel hook, and I broke his leg, and he needed 2 reconstructive surgeries that took 2 years. But I still lost. And I was supposed to be I was in talks with the UFC that I was potentially going to fight in the UFC Halifax, and losing that fight just destroyed me mentally. You know, I was so devastated because you know how much we put into it, and you know
Yeah.
how much I put into it, and when I lost, I didn't know what to do. So I thought the best thing to do is just get back in there quick. So I got back in there quick and I got clipped. It was a little bit of a controversial TKO, but the guy, Jason Whip, he's in the UFC now. He landed a good shot and he buckled me. And most men, when they get buckled, that's it. That's a wrap. And the ref did his job and stepped in. But after the refs, like as the ref was stepping in, I was taking him down and I passed his guard. It's it's different. I get buckled, but my autopilot kicks in and I keep going, and I can't complain because I did get dropped, but it was one of those things where that just added on to my my despair kind of thing, you know, because again, my dream, I'm seeing my dream drop in front of my eyes. And then I decided to take one more try against a guy who fought the distance with Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Guy's one of the best strikers in MMA, Nishan Burrell.
Yeah.
And I fought him. He missed weight by 7 pounds. And I accepted the fight still because I drove all the way to New Jersey. And I ended up standing with the guy who is one of the best strikers, and I'm a grappler, so that's kind of dumb. But I stood with him, hanging with him, but he ended up clipping me as well, and he ended up cutting me over my eye, giving me 32 stitches, and that was just a wrap. And then after that, that's when you and I went to California, you know, and that was a huge shift in my consciousness going to California with you after that.
Yeah, that was, I think, 2016, was it not?
Yeah, that was after my last fight. I remember literally being in that was a tough time for me, you know. That was really tough, and I had loss after loss after loss. I had no real secure future in line because I was just starting to make the transition to firefighting. I was in a group home job with kids with autism, and my identity as a fighter was vanishing, you know, like it was gone. And I actually hit depression. I don't know if it's a mix of the identity loss or a little bit of concussion stuff, like some CTE potentially. It was probably a mix of both, but I was dealing with depression pretty seriously, and I actually went to see some therapists and stuff right before we went to California. And we went to California for the Ty Lopez seminar. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. It was good times. Yeah.
It was good. And that was one of that was a motivating time, man. Like that was what I was, we were talking before this show that we wanted to bring this up because I think it's really, really important that people, when you're going through tough times like that, and we all are going through tough times right now, to kind of take a leap of faith. You know, I didn't have any money. You didn't have any money. You were going down there because I remember you listened to a book, that 10X book. And
Yeah.
you were like, hey, man, we got to go. This is Ty Lopez. We got to go see Ty Lopez. And it's going to cost money, but we got to do it. You're dedicated. I'm doing it. I'm already in. Are you in? I'm like, I don't know, man. I remember being in your apartment. I'm like, I was just kind of humoring you because you get excited about stuff just like I do.
Yeah.
I remember being so down that I'm like, man, it could be nice to go to California. It could be like, I need to change things up. And I don't like to sit and wallow in my sorrows.
Yeah.
When something is not going my way, I take big action, you know, and that's because of all the books that we read and hanging around with guys like you who do the same thing. And that ended up being one of the best things. We went to that seminar. I got super motivated, and then slowly it kind of started to turn around. And then same thing happened before, like in this COVID time. I ended up having a pretty rough breakup, and and then COVID hit, and then we were locked down, and I was pretty down in the dumps, and I thought, you know what, I need to make a drastic change here. And I decided to put everything I have into fighting and firefighting again. That's literally my life now. That's my mind. All I do is think about that, and it's turning out like it's working, you know. So we're gonna get to see on the 11th how well it works.
Well, I wish you the best on that fight, but you should know from now and from other people's mistakes, you got to fail so you can win. You got to experience a mass amount of pain in your life to succeed. And again, with me, it was losing my dad. And you know me, I've been through my share of rough relationships, and I just couldn't get it right. My head wasn't on straight. Now, I was overall a good kid, but again, the relationship thing I couldn't figure out. And then when we went to California, I just met who is now my future wife at that point. We're still getting together then. And I just, after the loss of my dad, that was enough pain for me to say, you know what, time to focus and hone in. And that's when I kind of started the podcast back. I think I started the podcast May 2016. I said, I'm going for this. I'm doing this fantasy football stuff, and I'm still growing. And that was 4 or 5 years ago. So yeah, I mean, it took me a lot of pain to come out of it, and I've come out really well. And I'm very grateful for that brand that I've built over the past couple of years. And it's going really good. And that trip was kind of cool because we ended up meeting Dolph Lundgren. So he was a big childhood. I don't get like starstruck or anything like that, but that was pretty cool meeting Dolph Lundgren, because that was a movie that me and my dad grew up watching a lot, was Rocky IV. So that was a big inspiration to me as a child because it's engraved in my DNA. Watched it over and over and over and over. So it was kind of cool and surreal to see him. But I'm glad that you bounced out of this hole that you were in. We got to leave the past in the past. It sounds to me that you're well versed in every position, from stand up to ground game, and you've upped your level of game, not only mentally but physically in all aspects of the game. Now, how do you line up against this guy you're fighting with? What is his kind of strength and weaknesses, and have you really been studying him? And are you fully prepared for this guy?
Yeah, so this is actually a really cool fight too, because Mike Hill is my opponent, and him and I fought back in 2014. That was we fought in the World Series of Fighting, and he was 6-2, and I was 6-1. And we ended up going the distance. It was a very close fight. Some people said I won. Some people said he won. The judges voted for him, and he is very experienced. Now I'm 10-5, he's 11-5. So we're both, again, it's the same type of thing as before, but he is a tough fucker, man. Like, that guy, he's been in the Ultimate Fighter show. He's fought the who's who in Canada and in the States. He's number 3 in some ranking systems for in regards to Canada for 170. And he's well-rounded, man. He's a guy who he likes to stand and bang. He wants to make it like a fight, which that's cool. That's good. I like that. If that's what if he's good enough to get there, that's where we'll go. But he's hard to take down. He's hard to sub. But I think that he's not ready. You know, he doesn't have what it takes. I've watched some of his kind of recent fights, and the evolution between the two of us. Like, when we fought, he was a blue belt, I believe. I was a blue or purple belt.
Right.
Now he's a purple belt, and I'm a legit black belt. You know, my wrestling was effective back then, but it wasn't anywhere near as technical as it is now. And my striking is you're not even gonna recognize when I strike now. It's gonna be like interesting. You're gonna think, wow, this guy's different. So in regards to where I stack up against him, I think in all areas I beat him, but on the feet it's close, you know. But on the ground and in the wrestling, he's fucked.
You need to take him down. You should Khabib him. Don't waste any time, man. Just go to a formula that wins, you know?
Yes, that's literally it. That's the plan. I'm going to strike with him like hand fighting in wrestling. I'm going to strike with him just to see an opening. And once that opening is there, he's done. That's it.
Exactly. I think it's going to be a matter, if you guys are pretty evenly matched based on last fight, it's going to be a matter of who wants it more, who's hungrier. And I keep referencing this guy, and I can't stop referencing him. I know you read a lot, but have you read the book by David Goggins, Can't Hurt Me?
I haven't read that, but I've listened to many podcasts with David Goggins, and that guy, yeah.
I recommend before you fight, I mean, you're going to do fine either way, but it's just get Audible and get that book. It's called Can't Hurt Me, David Goggins. Yeah. And in there, he talks about taking somebody's soul. So if you're in like a race with somebody, you just got to outdo him a little bit more. It's called soul taking. And I think that you could take his soul in this fight. Not literally, but it's just a metaphor to say that you just got to outdo that person. Whatever they're pushing, he says that we only use, I think it's like 40% of what we can do. So if you think like, if you take your body to like 40%, like I'm tired, you can go another 40, 50% because he's been through Hell Week 3 times. He's got the, ultra marathons, and he's pushed to his body to the point of like extreme exhaustion, fatigue, where he's been hospitalized. I'm not saying you got to do that, but sometimes in your body, when you're in a clinch or when you're like caught in a lock and you're like, oh, I'm kind of tired, like, no, hold on 1 second here. I've got 40% more, and you break out of it. So it's about pushing your mind. It's called mental calcium, pushing it to the other level. Are you doing any drills right now? And do you push yourself in your exercises past beyond the point of what you can do in your training?
So I'm gonna answer both your questions, but I'm gonna add something to what you were saying, because you just made me really want to read his book because of the soul stuff. Yeah. I don't know if you remember when I fought Josh Taverne back in amateur. He was my toughest fight. Josh Taverne at the time was my toughest fight. And it was one of those things where when we fought in amateur, he got the first takedown. He picked me up and slammed me. And then the second takedown I would get, and then he would get. And it was just this back and forth battle until eventually someone comes on top. Yeah. And that is what as creepy as this might sound, that is the best. That's a better feeling than sex to me. When you can, when I can feel the fight leaving another man because of like, we're gonna pick me up. Like he literally, you could feel the power in him. And then there was one reversal that I got, and the fight left him. He didn't have any more. He gave up, quit. And I love taking that. All the fights that I've lost, Mike Hill didn't quit on me. Mike Hill does not quit. And that is what I've been obsessing about, making Mike Hill quit. And if he's watching this, or if he does watch this, I'm going to make him quit. I love that. And I love that. And that's what I say. Sorry to interrupt, but that's what I say in my industry. You will not beat me. You will not fucking outwork me. You will not there's nobody in my sports industry and delivering sports that's as passionate, as crazy and intense as I am. And I do everything from editing to shooting to making sure that the audio quality is good. I'm obsessed. Like how you were obsessed with fighting. I've taken on this role with this. I do podcasts in the evening. I'm interviewing. I'm blogging. I'm Instagramming. I'm YouTubing. I'm learning SEO. I'm beyond obsessed. I will win. And some of these people in the industry, they've got a head start on me, right? Maybe you can relate to this in fighting. They've got a head start on me, Ryan, just because they've left a little bit earlier. But believe me, I'm catching up and I'm doing it better. And it's just like everybody's so white collar, cookie cutter, politically correct, can't say this. Like they get shocked when I say this guy sucks. Like, dude, like man the fuck up. I said he sucks. Like get over it, right? And now athletes, like professional NFL athletes, are coming on my page saying, "Oh, dude, you're tough behind a keyboard." I'm like, "Yeah, man, I'll fucking fight you. We'll do a boxing for charity match. I'll train with Ryan Dickson. I'll bring the best boxing coaches, and I'll get in the best cardio, and I can beat you." Because a lot of these boxers, it's actually we'll go off on a tangent. It's a whole other tangent. They're boxing. I'll show you the film when we're done here, but their style, you can tell they don't move because they don't have that foundation. I grew up taking karate since I was 10, 11 years old, and they move very stiff and very rigid, and their cardio and conditioning is probably good, but they haven't been punched in the face, right? Like Mike Tyson says, everything's good until you get punched in the face. So the point I'm trying to make is, yes, you got to outdo them. And it's just having that level of intensity and focus and wanting it more. And I think from my experience of knowing you for years, nobody wants it more than you. I think you're hungry. I know you are. Yeah. And that's why it's been a while since we've talked, but that was why we got along so well, because we have that same mindset. But at the start, for how I've been preparing to make sure I'm mentally there, at the start of quarantine, I remember it was Ramadan maybe not the start, but early on in quarantine. And for my Muslim friends, they fast during Ramadan, during the day. For sure. And we would train, and Amr would be fasting. So he wouldn't be drinking water, he wouldn't be eating. So Imperial and I, when we were training, we decided to do the same. We weren't drinking water, right? We weren't drinking any water during training, which is kind of crazy, but it was more for mental toughness. And it was around the time when the Michael Jordan series came out. Documentary, Last Dance. Yep. Yeah. And I had just watched the episode where he's trash talking people, and he was saying that his opponents were saying he would make these challenges so that he would be like forced to rise up. You know what I mean? And when we were training, we weren't drinking water. It was super hot. We were training in a garage, like the guy's fucking garage. And I remember we did 50 minutes of King of the Mat, of starting on the feet, right? And I told them at the start, I said, you fuckers aren't taking me down for 50 minutes. And these are two ultra heavyweight world-class athletes.
Right.
Like Amr got silver in the worlds for no gi. And he and Imperial didn't take me down for 50 minutes because I said, they're not taking me down. I'm making sure that you're not fucking taking me down. And that was it. And then from that point on, almost the entire training camp has been that way. I made it a goal. I said, I am not going to lose an inch. Every takedown, I'm going to fight. Every submission, I'm going to get out of. Every point, I'm going to make sure I get. And if I don't, then I'm going to obsess about it, and then I'm going to get it back. And that's the same mindset that I'm going to go into with this fight. Every single inch is mine.
Exactly.
Every inch. There's nothing that he's not going to, that if I want to take him down, if I want his leg, it's mine. If I want to punch him in the face with my left hand, I'm going to do it.
I like that. That's what you need to do. And that's how you got to win, man. You got to have that mindset. I was talking to Benil, and it just seems like he's a little more, like he's there, but he just seems a little more chill. Like you got to watch the video. I'm releasing it Monday with Benil. It was a really good talk. He seems a little more chill than you, but I guess everybody's got a different mentality. He didn't go into the depth of this, but this guy's trained like an animal too. And I guess he's just more of a chill out guy. He's one of those guys. He's kind of like you. He's humble too. Like he doesn't really want to, he's not like a Conor McGregor flashy kind of guy. He's more all talk, but it's just interesting to get different mindsets of how people train and what they think. And but yeah, you're definitely intense, and I think you should bring that intensity in there. But also you also have fun in there too, don't you?
It's the best time of my life, man. I that intensity that's how I am. I'm a very passionate guy, and it rubs some people the wrong way. When I talk about certain things that might not be what they think we can butt heads, or people that have a softer personality, I might seem like I'm overbearing or overwhelming, but it's just because I care. If I'm doing something, it's because I care. Like I literally can't waste my time with things that I don't care about. And if I'm doing something, I'm 100% in.
Yeah. Speaking of that, like not caring about something. So I wake up in the morning, I podcast, and then I try to get a workout in from like 1 to 3 Eastern time. Like I can't miss a workout. I've got like a watch that kind of keeps me grounded. It's kind of monitoring my workout. So I want to stay, like I miss a day, I feel guilty. And then in the evening, I'm editing, I'm doing stuff. I'm on social media, I'm interacting with fans. But one thing, like I want to get back, this is crazy. And I just feel like it's a waste of time at this point, but video games, like the PS5 is coming out, and I know you got to have some sort of downtime, but I can't see myself sitting there wasting time playing a video game at this point in my life. I'd rather read a book. I'd rather, if worst case, I'll watch a Netflix series with my wife just to kind of shut my brain off in the evening. What are you doing at 9 p.m. like Eastern? What is your downtime? What is your like guilty pleasure at this point?
Yeah, I was this close. I was so close to getting a system at the start of quarantine, and I'm so glad I didn't.
Right.
You can't work the whole time though. Your mind starts to go crazy if
you need a release, a movie or something.
Yeah. So usually at the end of the night when I get home, it's like almost 10 o'clock usually. So I'll walk my dog, and I'll put on something mindless that I could just background noise, like I'll have some movie that I can get wrapped up in for a little bit, and that's about it. That's my downtime.
That's good. Yeah. So you're reading a lot, audio or reading?
Both. I'm reading right now. I've since quarantine happened, I've kind of changed my system, and I'm reading 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm reading 8 books, and I'm listening to a book, which is kind of crazy, but it's yeah. And let me kind of backtrack there. The reason I read is if I don't understand something, or if I feel like I'm going to get value out of something, I'll read it. Like I'm going to get the Goggins book, and that's going to be added to that mix. But I have I have a book on meditation because I was getting my thoughts were I need to control my thoughts better.
Yeah.
And I'm reading a book on physiology, human physiology, and the way cells work and stuff like that. I'm reading psychology books like human or evolutionary psychology. I'm actually reading the Quran because a lot of my training partners are Muslim, and I want to try and understand. I've read the Bible. I've read a lot of Buddhist texts, and I just want to understand if people can live their life by a way and
Right.
so strongly believe in something, there's a reason for that. And I want to understand what pulls their heart, you know what I mean? Like what guides them and why. Because if that's so strong for some people,
Right.
it can give me some power too. And just like the Bible and stuff like that, I wanted to read it to understand. And I listened to a really good book actually, especially for this time. Have you ever read the book by Sebastian Younger, Tribe?
No.
It's good. Check it out. It's good. It talks about how in hard times, a lot of the times humans are able to rise above, and a lot of the good things that happen and the good feelings that we have happen, they come out through struggle. So I think you'd like that one. It's not super motivating. It's not a motivating book. It's just a good food for thought book. It's Joe Rogan recommended it. He's read it a bunch of times. I listened to the guy on the podcast as well, Sebastian Younger, and
Okay.
I liked the book, man. It was good. But I'm definitely gonna listen to the Goggins book on
You have to. I like as soon as we're done, like get into it. Like it'll probably take you, I don't know, 5 or 8 hours to finish. But I mean, you can watch 3 movies in that time. And you're gonna get so much out of it. And it's just one of those things that stuck in my mind, that book, because he talks about his story overcoming adversity. He was beaten up as a child. He was called every racist name in the book. He overcame everything you could like ever experience. And then I think his mom found a new husband or boyfriend or something, and he ends up getting killed off. So it's just a crazy book. And it's like, it just mentally calloused me to push past my physical barriers. And no book has really stuck with me like that has stuck with me. And I can't stop thinking about it when I'm working out. I'm like, okay, if I'm tired and I'm doing like a quick set and I'm hitting the bag and I do a 10-second interval and I get tired, I'm like, nope, I'm not tired, because I know I could do more. And it's like, it's crazy. It just pushes you through past everything. And there's times where I've done a podcast where one day I do one podcast and I'm like, okay, I'm kind of tired. I'm like, I don't want to do this. But then there's days where I have to do 3 or 4 or whatever it is. And I'm editing and I'm doing this. At the end of the day, I'm like, shit, I just did that much. Okay. And there's days I feel tired at 1. No, I could do more than that. So it's just about pushing yourself past your boundaries. I think it'll really, really help your mental game.
You're not the first person who said that. There was a day where I was really like, I was not in a good spot. And that was a book that I was going to get. I was listening to a David Goggins podcast with Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
I wanted to order it, but I saw that it was in the library. So I instead put myself on the queue. I'm going to actually order it. I'm going to get it on Audible, on this, but I'm in the queue still, like in the waiting list. But instead of getting the Goggins book that day, have you ever read the book, The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield?
No, I'm going to add it to my wish list as well then.
Yeah, read that. That's the only book. I got the audiobook on Audible. Get the it's only like 2 hours long. And I listened to it back to back to back. Like literally as soon as it was done, I just hit refresh. And I listened to it back to back to back.
It's that good.
I bought 4 copies and I gave a copy to a couple people. So I haven't read the book yet, but I listened to it, and the audio book is good. The way he talks,
yeah,
the author who does it. Have you ever seen the movie The Legend of Bagger Vance?
No.
It's with you should check it out. It's with Matt Damon and Will Smith back in the day, and they won Oscars and stuff like that. But that book, that was a book first, and Stephen Pressfield is a fiction author, and he talks about the muse and like what motivates people to do certain things, and he talks about what got him into his process to make that book and like all the setbacks and all the things. But what he really wanted to do was make the book The War of Art, which is to tell people, like he said, it's really good, man. He said that he had some sort of like feeling in him that he was supposed to be more than what he was, and it shows all the steps that it takes to like get past your resistance. Like if you're dealing with resistance, like if you're feeling setbacks, if you're feeling struggle, that's probably because you're supposed to be doing that. You know what I mean? Like at the time, I had failed 3 times the fire. There's a thing called the OFAI, and that's the certification that you need to be eligible to apply in the Greater Toronto area. So like Mississauga, Oakville, Toronto, obviously, all these different cities, you have to have your OFAI certificate.
Right.
I passed that the first year I tried, the second year I tried, the third year I tried. I never failed at any time. But this year, I failed 4 times, back to back to back to back. And I was like, in my head, I was thinking, is this what I'm supposed to do? Is it like I just had a breakup. I am locked in my house. I have no money. I'm getting government money. I don't know what the future holds. And I'm trying to do this other thing that I had quit fighting for, which was for firefighting. And I'm failing every time. And then I read this book by Stephen Pressfield, The War of Art, and it talks about how when you're facing struggles, it's because you care about that, right? So if I face a struggle to, like, say I apply at Fortino's or I apply at like Metro or some grocery store and they don't take me, I'm not going to be like, oh, that's a setback. And because I don't give a shit. I don't care about
Right.
work, but I want the fire job. So if I don't get that and that feeling of failure hurts that much, it's because it's important to you and it's something that you should be going towards. And he talks about why and how to overcome those barriers. It's really good, man. You should check
it out. I just added it to my wish list. I definitely did. And I just want to stick on to this reading topic and wasting time and spending it on proper things. I mean, I created this podcast for a couple of reasons. Number one, I wanted to break out of fantasy. I'm going to keep fantasy going. That podcast stays intact. But I wanted to add this because I want to talk about physical fitness. I want to improve people's life. I want to work on philanthropy. I want to work on entrepreneurship and help people build a brand because so many people are stuck in a job where they're just not fulfilled. You and I have had these talks about the sheep society and how the mainstream media wants to dumb you down and how they want to, they want to make you a sheep and stuff like that. And it's the fear that they put into you. So instead of wasting your time watching bullshit news, read a book, get an Audible, start reading books that interest you and start building your online business and your side hustle on the side because so many people are caught up in what the mainstream media news has to do. Now, there's this whole thing with the politics, with the whole Trump and Biden thing, which I understand it's going to impact some people, who gets voted in, stuff like that. The nation's completely divided. But I was watching some local news and they're like, oh, the outcome is so scary. And then some people, it's the best is when they put people on and they have interview people on the street and the people on the street, oh, I'm so scared. And it's the narrative that they do. And you and I, like, we just laugh at this, right?
Yeah. I think the reading part, it's the reason why it's important for that. And even if you don't read, it's just have an open mind with shit. You know, everyone just puts their head in the sand, and as soon as they hit a setback, or as soon as something gets uncomfortable, let's turn on Netflix, or as soon as something gets uncomfortable, let's turn on my PlayStation, or as soon as something gets uncomfortable, let's go drink or go party, or as soon as
scroll through Facebook and do meaningless stuff.
Yeah, most people's I'm gonna use a corny analogy considering I'm making fun of video games, but in video games, people can understand this. You know how in some games, like, there's checkpoints. So if you make it on further and you die, you get brought back to that checkpoint.
Yeah.
Most people's checkpoint in life, once they have that setback, they're not going to keep going further. They don't keep trying to go further and face the boss. They don't keep trying to go further to see what's in store. Once they die once, they go back to that checkpoint and then they just chill there. They just chill. They do the same thing that they always do. They do the same, or worse, and they revert to what 90% of the people do, and it doesn't work. And you keep getting into this comfort zone. Everyone just tries to find the most comfort, and unfortunately, getting further, getting through the unknown is not comfortable. It's
Right.
you have to push yourself and stretch yourself to grow, and most people aren't willing to do that. And I think, like we were talking about early on with when I was going through my hard times, is you don't have to take massive action like guys like you and I do, and like quit your job and move away. Like, you don't have to do that kind of stuff. But when something doesn't go your way, take a step back for a second and think about why it didn't go that way and what could you do that could be a better thing to do that would potentially move you where you want to go. You know?
Yeah, nobody's as intense as us sometimes. Like, I mean, there is people, but not everybody's like that. Some people just want to chill and they're comfortable. And that's okay. If you're comfortable with that, that's fine. But if you're sitting there complaining and say, oh, I'm at my 9 to 5, I hate my 9 to 5. I just think, like, for me to go back and work for somebody, I would rather jump off a cliff. There is no way in hell I would ever go work for anybody else. I just can't imagine that thought. That's me personally. Some people, I understand you're in a situation where you must, and they say, what do I do? And to me, like, I was stuck in for 10 years. I was selling hydraulic cylinders, working for different bosses. And I hated my job. I hated every aspect of it. Even though I had some freedom to travel and do stuff, I still hated reporting to somebody. And I just, right. And it was hard. It was scary to take that leap. It was like terrifying because I was just moved into a condo with my fiance, and I'm just like, or no, I think my wife at the time, we just got married, and we moved into a condo, and I had the mortgage payment. I'm like, okay, if I leave this job and I do this, like, there might not be enough money next month. And it was scary as hell. But think of yourself as a monkey. You grab, like, you leap towards one branch and you kind of secure that one before fully letting go. And I had built a social media, digital online business to help me kind of make that transition. So it's not like quit your job and leave. You got to take a leap of faith, but you got to have some sort of plan towards what you're going to do. And a lot of people just, and then if they fail, like, they revert back to, I got to work for somebody. So I encourage you to just follow your passion, have faith, and make it a must. And you will get out of that 9 to 5.
I agree. And I'm going to say something that, let me finish, so because I know you're going to at first disagree, but
Okay.
I think that most people are tougher than the guys like us, because I'm not willing to handle being uncomfortable for long. You're not willing to handle being uncomfortable for long. As soon as I'm uncomfortable, I get panicked and I gotta do something. I gotta make a change. But the average Joe is comfortable being uncomfortable. Like, how can you say that you feel good when you're out of shape and overweight? You can't. Like, as soon as you feel out of shape, as soon as I feel out of shape, I get so uncomfortable. I'm like, I hate this. So then I get panicked and I fix it.
Right.
But those people, they're too tough for their own good. And they're like, well, I've put on 10 pounds. I guess I'll hang with it. And then they put on another 10 pounds and I'll hang with it. I'll put on or they're doing a job that they don't like and they're barely making ends meet, but somehow they have that mental toughness to continue living, barely making ends meet. I don't like that. You know what I mean? If I'm struggling, I'm in desperation mode and I'm learning and I'm trying to work and I'm trying to get myself out of that. Most of these people, it seems, are completely okay with being in the fire for their whole life. And that's not a nice way to be. And I think if people understood that it just takes a little bit of work in the right direction, they can get out of their discomfort. Like, you don't have to just accept being in a shitty situation. Like, most people think that they just have to accept it. Oh, well, I can't do that. Like, no one's going to be able to change things. You can't do this. You can't do that. Like, why can I do what I want to do? Why can you, like, no offense to you, man, but you're not special.
Right. I know.
You know what I mean? Like,
Or not.
I'm very excited for my victory speech because I've already kind of planned something, but I'm going to be on NBC Sports beating the number 3 guy in Canada in front of the world. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm a nobody. All I did was just decide to train often. That's it. I'm nobody. So, like, why can I be there? And the people that are watching, why can't they be there? Or not, even if they don't want to be fighting, why can't they be doing something the equivalent? Why can't they be on a platform with something that they enjoy? You know what I mean? Like, didn't want to be on the like you could be where I'm at. If you stuck with the fighting, you could be where I'm at. But you decided to do your platform, which is like just as tough, but your platform is doing what you're doing now. And like Joe Schmo over
No pun.
or any other person could be doing their platform somewhere else. It just takes a little bit of work, and most people are I don't know what's holding them back.
It's kind of sad, honestly, but it's just about sticking it out. So I get DM'd all the time. Hey man, can you give me advice? Can you help me? Can you give me a shout out? I'm like, that doesn't do anything. If I give you a shout out, that's a temporary fix. Like, you know, that whole saying, you know, give a person a fish, you know, eats for a day, teach him to fish, eats for a lifetime. It's like, why did your platform get big? Well, I've been posting every single day. I started my podcast May 2016. I've honestly go back and look. I may have missed one day, but I've been doing a post every single day since August 2015. Go to my first Instagram. I mean, people are like, oh my God, well, how? It's just because every single day I've been showing up, and you got to keep showing up. Just got to keep showing up. That's all you got to do, and it's just over time.
You were doing that before that, though. You were doing
Yeah.
that before we went to California. You had your huge. I remember you got me on to Audible. You had all those books on Audible. You were scrolling through. You're like, look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this, and I was like, holy crap! And you were already on that. So it's like where you're at now is because of years of work. Where I'm at now is just because of years. That's all. It just takes
Foundation. Yep.
yeah, it just takes a little bit of like, but that the reason why we're here is because it took years, but we were able to spend years doing it because we enjoy it. You know, I think
People
that
won't do that. People want that instant gratification in society. They want the instant fix. You know, I start a gym, I go to the gym for a month, I quit. Like, it doesn't work like that with anything you do. If you want to learn another language, you got to immerse yourself. Like you went to Thailand, like to learn kickboxing and whatever you learned there. What was it? Kickboxing you learned there?
Muay Thai, yeah.
Muay Thai. I wasn't thinking that. Yeah, Muay Thai. You got to immerse yourself. But again, there is no overnight success. And if there is, it's easy come, easy go. And a perfect example I use all the time. I used to watch American Idol back in the early 2000s. I could probably remember 3 American Idols. And like, it's funny because like, let's say season 9, can you tell me who the winner of season 9 American Idol? No. But at that moment when they're on TV, they get all this like influx of social media followers, and they get all this big, massive amount of people following. They're like, well, I don't know what to do with this. You know, and then they're forgotten about it. Right. And it's like the person that wins the lottery. If you don't know how to manage money, that you're going to blow that money because you didn't really earn that money. It wasn't really earned. And to be honest, if you said, hey, Joe, you can make $50,000 a year doing fantasy football, or I'm going to give you $5 million right now, I don't even feel good about collecting that $5 million. I'll be like, you know what? Everyone's like, I'm excited to win the lottery. It doesn't excite me because I don't feel I earned that money. I'd rather just kind of grind it out, feel the resistance of the success, and earn the $1 million instead of like, honestly, I know that sounds crazy. Nobody else would say this, but I would not be happy with $5 million. Maybe I'd invested into doing things I love and help grow the podcast, get an amazing studio and do that stuff, but I still wouldn't feel like in my heart of hearts that I earned that money. I wouldn't.
yeah, yeah, it's more fulfilling to take what you got. You know, it's more fulfilling seeing what you get rather than have it given to you almost out of for luck. You know.
One thing we didn't talk about is like you talk about your struggle and your losses, that anyone can lose a fight, right? Like I can go in there and lose a fight, which is obviously, you know, troublesome for you because you had you had so much to lose, right? But that's a big loss. But something even bigger, we didn't talk about, you fought cancer and beat that too.
Yeah, yeah. When I was 23, I was diagnosed with testicular cancer, and I don't know. It's weird. I almost sweep that under the rug because I don't make a big deal of that because when I found out, it could have been one of two ways. If I was doing, and I hate using this because he just means well. Like I love my dad, but when I was 18, my dad told me to go into school because I was an idiot. Like I dicked around in school. I had okay marks, but not good enough to get into college or to universities. So I got into Mohawk for electrical engineering to be an electrician.
Right.
And my dad was very happy that I was doing that. He was proud that I was going to do that. It was a good job, good trade. By the time I was 24, 25, I'd be like comfortable, all that kind of stuff. And when I was 18 or 9, 18. Yeah, 18. So I didn't even make it a semester. I knew that it wasn't what I loved, and I knew I wasn't going to do it. I wouldn't be happy doing it. So I remember I dropped out without telling them, and my mom found me at the gym one day, and she was like, "Aren't you supposed to be in school?" And I was like, I'm not going anymore." So after that, I had to put up with some flack from my parents. I went to Thailand. They supported me. Because they saw how good I was. But when I was diagnosed at 23, if I was 18 when I started school, 19, 20, 20, yeah, 18, 19, 20. So 3 years, I would have been 20 graduating. Your apprenticeship is what, 3 or 4 years of apprenticeship?
Yeah.
By the time I'm 23, I'm just becoming potentially, or just finishing my apprenticeship to be an electrician, a job that I didn't want to do.
Right.
And that would have been the time when I was getting the news that maybe I'm dying, you know?
Right.
And I realized that point then and there, if I was dying and I had spent my time doing something I didn't want to do, I would have felt devastated. My
Right.
life would have felt like I wasted it because I wasn't doing what I like to do, and we don't know how much time we have.
Good
And
point.
but instead, when I was 23, I had been to Thailand, I had been to Brazil, I was 4-0, undefeated. I was undefeated, or 5-0. I was undefeated as a professional martial artist, mixed martial artist, and I was 6-0 in amateur. So I was 11-0. I had lived what I wanted to live. And then I found out that I maybe was going to die because I knew a friend, Noah, or Owen. He was a guy that I kind of like, I didn't know him very well, but um, he worked at a security job that I worked at before. I always looked up to him because he was a few years older than me. I always looked up to him when he was in the gym. He was really strong. He was like popular guy and everything. And he got testicular cancer, and he didn't get it checked in time, and it spread, and he passed away.
Oh my goodness. I didn't know it could spread that fast. I thought it was more of a local thing. I didn't know
Oh yeah,
that's serious.
yeah. And so when I got diagnosed, I was nervous, of course, but in my head, I'm like, fuck, if I die, like, at least I got to live, I got to do what I wanted. And so many people out, like majority of people in the world out there, they're living, but they're not living. You know what I mean? Like they're walking through life, they're participating, but they're not winning. They're going through life. And if I tell you, hey Joe, tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but in a month or so, you could pass away. Are you living optimally right now? Are you
I
living?
love what I do. I love what I do. There's no regrets. Would I like more money? Sure. I mean, would I like a couple more things? Sure. I mean, we all want more, right? But I love what I do. I get up and I do what I love, and I have no regrets. And I have reached a pinnacle, not a pinnacle, but I've reached a good state in my business. I'm like, wow, I've done. I like sometimes so you got to surprise yourself. And I think again, you can do more than you think you can. There's days where I wake up, I'm like, holy crap, I did that. Like shit, that's cool. Like I just launched this podcast. I was a little nervous about it. I'm like, shit, okay, I got to get new artwork. I got to do this again. I got to start it from zero. And trust me, your ego and your brand, it's like you right now, like you're pretty established. It's like saying, hey, Ryan, you just got to go back and do a couple amateur fights in some gym in like a small town in some middle of nowhere. It's kind of like, I don't really want to do that, but you knew that amateur fight, there was a big scout that's going to watch that fight, and he's a UFC fight. I got to go do this fight. I know it's a step back, but I got to do it. And yeah, I love what I do. I'm kind of expanding on the answer here, but yeah, I love what I do. And yeah, I'm really, really proud of myself to some degree, but I still think that I can do more. And I'm never really, really satisfied because I'm always looking for that other mountain. I just, like, I've done so much. And some people look at me like, holy crap, you're successful. I can't believe real NFL athletes DM me and say, stop talking about me because I say they suck that week in fantasy. Like I don't care. Like I might be burning bridges with some players. It is what it is, but I've got their attention, and my opinion matters so much so that professional NFL athletes are diving into my comments, whether it be good or bad, and replying. And to me, it's just, I've kind of desensitized to it. Like I had Chris Johnson, a future Hall of Famer, on the podcast today. And I'm just like, hey man, it's just Chris Johnson. They're just normal people. I had an actor from a Netflix show on from Fuller House. And I still not fulfilled. I'm just like, yeah, I want more, but yeah, to answer your question, if I died tomorrow, I would suck. I want to live a full life. And I'm sure you do too, but I'm fulfilled.
Yeah, man. And when I found out about that, that's what I realized was important. I don't want to waste, like, obviously that doesn't mean go booze and like party and like live your life that way as if you're going to die tomorrow. But I mean, are you doing meaningful things with meaningful people, and is it making you happy? If you're doing meaningful things with meaningful people, and everyone that's around you, including yourself, is happy and growing, then literally I could die tomorrow and I feel fine.
If we could save a life, sorry to go off tangent. I don't want to get off the cancer thing for a second. How would you detect, because I lost my dad to a heart attack suddenly. I kept telling him, go to a doctor. And I know some of the signs to look for if you could have a heart, like some things to look for. But for testicular cancer, if one person listens to this and gets that message out, how do you warn people to prevent that spread? What do you feel down there? Does it hurt down there? Like, how do you know that you've got testicular cancer?
You will know. Like, whenever, our bodies are amazing. And this goes back to what we were saying about people just putting their head down in the sand and
right.
not doing things. Like, if you're not listening to what makes you happy, you're going to feel unfulfilled. If you're not listening to what makes you feel uncomfortable, like physically, it could be something. So like for me, what happened was I felt like I was overtrained, and I don't know, not many people. Your last, who was the fighter you were saying again?
Which fighter?
The fighter that you interviewed?
Beneil Dariush.
Beneil Dariush definitely has felt overtrained. He's in the UFC, but not many people have felt overtrained. Some of the football guys maybe, but overtrained means bedridden. Like, I literally couldn't get out of bed. I was like, my cortisol level was like, my nervous system was fucked. I was like, I couldn't sleep, and then I couldn't wake up. I didn't have energy. I had no sex drive. I had nothing. And I thought I was overtrained. And then I got tested to see my, like, all my hormones and all that kind of stuff. And my testosterone was like super, super, super low, like red light low, like dangerous. And that kind of made me, and I was feeling pain in my stomach, like nausea, not nausea. And almost like, for guys, we know the feeling like when you get sacked. It was happening to me like all the time, I haven't been, knock on wood, I haven't been sacked in, I don't even remember the last time, you know what I mean? Like, I don't remember that. And, but it hurts, but it was happening to me like numerous times per training. So I was like, what the hell is going on here? And then it felt different. Like, it was more hard, and it was like not in a symmetrical feeling. Like, it was like,
right.
It was like a lump to it. So that was what made me, when I was getting my fight medical. The only reason I went was because I was supposed to be fighting in Brazil for Jungle Fight, and I needed to get licensed here before I could get licensed there. So I decided to just get it checked while I was there, and then right away they're like, yeah, you got to get this removed, and that was it. But if I was to tell anyone, like, listen to your body, listen to your mind, like we were talking about earlier. Like, if you're feeling sluggish, if you're not feeling happy, listen, do something about it. If you're feeling physically like off, listen, do something about it, because your life depends on it.
There's a book I'm reading right now. It's Jim Quick. It's called Limitless. And he talks about the mind. And there's one thing that how you listen to your gut, they're scientifically looking at the mind and gut connection. So when you say, oh, I got a gut feeling about something, they're connected. And you got to listen to your gut. So my thing is, like, how come is it your friend Owen, that guy Owen, that didn't detect it? Why do you think that it spread with him? Did he not, maybe he just didn't listen to his body?
I wouldn't, like I said, I'd probably be dead now. If I didn't have the fight, I wouldn't listen. Most guys specifically, they don't want to go to the doctor if they don't have to. You
Right.
don't want, you don't want to feel like a sissy. You don't want to feel like you don't want to inconvenience yourself. You don't want to wait in the lobby. You don't want to go there and then it's nothing. So it's like you don't want to go through all that. It's just a hassle. And also, it affects everyone different. Like some people, it spreads quicker. Some people, like I don't know, it is what it is. But I for sure, I would be willing to bet that I would have been. I might not be here today if I didn't have. I got lucky. You know, I got lucky that I was getting tested anyway, and I was right there. So I was like, I might as well get rid of this while I'm here, or like I might as well get checked while I'm here, just to rest easy. And then it ended up being something. But don't be too, don't let your ego get in the way. Like, be smart.
Yeah, guys, go get checked out. If you're feeling weird, just go and drop the ego and go out there. I'm
And
just go ahead.
and girls, if you guys are feeling weird and like if you guys have a weird lump in your chest, if you guys have any girls too, everybody.
Of course, everybody. So I was thinking here, I lost my train of thought here, but you and I like literally have not talked for like years. And so I wanted to like make it so that we're talking here instead of like, we didn't actually catch up before this. So I'm glad that we had this catch up right now. And hopefully it makes a difference to a lot of people and they can listen to some of this stuff and break out of their comfort zone, whether it be entrepreneurship. And if you want to do fighting or any type of sport, you got to go on it full on and just not be afraid to take the leap. I mean, that's kind of the message we want to get across. I'm hoping that this show makes a difference. And for me, like I felt I was kind of bottled up. Like I don't know, like I love fantasy. Don't get me wrong. My passion, I love it, but I just caught myself being robotic in some episodes. Well, these are the top 10 guys this week. And it just felt like, again, I'm going to continue to do it. It's more of an information podcast. This is more information, but entertainment and more real life. Whereas that is just more, these are the top 10 players for this week. This is the waiver wire pickup. And I'm comfortable and I'm breaking out of my shell too. A lot of people didn't even know I was Canadian, right? So it's just like, cause it's like, where are you from? But this is really opening it up. And I feel that already 6 episodes in, I think this is 6 or 7, I'm bringing a ton of value to people. And I think this is going to help a lot of people. I genuinely do.
I think this talk definitely should help people. And I think like it helped me, and I know it helped you, not
Yeah.
this you know, but this talk, what we're doing now is what similar thing that we've been doing like before when we were hanging out regularly. This is the kind of stuff we would talk about daily, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like to use metaphors and analogies and stuff, but that leap that we were talking about, you can't walk to where you're going. You can't walk to success. You can't walk there. It's on the other side. Imagine you're walking on one side of a like a creek or a river. Okay.
Yeah.
On the side that most people are on is comfort. You can't. There's no bridge. There's no like rocks or something that you can hop across comfortably. It takes jumping in, and you have to jump with everything you have, because if you half jump, you're just gonna fall into the water and you have to go back to the side that you were originally on. If you jump full out, whether you make it or not, you'll be close enough that you can climb out. But it's something that everybody has to do. If you're not willing to take a leap, if you think you can walk over comfortably and get to where most people want to be, if you expect to get there easily or comfortably, you're mistaken. Just like we were talking about the lottery stuff, you have to do what the people like. Reading about one of your favorite movies is Rocky.
Yeah.
The Rocky story. That's a leap of faith bigger than almost. That's a Hollywood story. Like it's a leap of faith that most people can't even believe would happen. And look at the returns that it made. Look at the returns. It's one of the best movies in history. He had a monument made from him because of that movie. And that took a leap of faith. You can't comfortably walk into like making the biggest movie ever. You know, you can't walk into that. You have to dive in or hope to be able to jump across that river of risk, we'll call it, to get to the other side. And unless you're willing to do that, which I don't think most people are, you're not going to get there. But most people can get there. Like I said, I'm not special. I can't jump any further than anyone else. I can't. Like I don't have any I'm too stupid maybe that I don't want to be denied.
Yeah, I think again, some people want that instant gratification. Then they'll give a butt excuse. Well, but I have kids, but I can't do that. But I don't have enough time. But my boss wants me to do that. But I don't have enough money. I mean, you gotta get rid of those butts, man, because again, those butts are gonna kill you, and then you're gonna end up having a big butt, and you're gonna be on the couch all day. So, yeah, no, I just have making a joke out of it. But yeah, honestly, like I wish you the best of luck. So, how do we watch this fight now?
It's going to be on NBC Sports. That's in the States. I've heard that NBC Sports doesn't broadcast in Canada, but it's supposed to be on NBC Sports. I'm hoping that the Canadian viewers can watch as well.
Who cares about Canada? Most of my listeners are US anyway. But when you're mentioning all these names like Metro, Fortino's grocery stores, and I went to Mohawk, it's like a lot of my listeners won't know what those places are. But I think they'll kind of put the pieces together. But is there a way to stream this thing? Because I'm a streamer, man.
There's got to be. I don't know yet, to be honest. I don't know how they can stream. There's got to be a way. I'll be posting it on my Instagram. My Instagram is at Ryan, RYAN, Dickson, DICKSON 10. So I'll be posting up everything that I know is going to be posted up on that Instagram, because I want people to watch this. I want people to see what I've been working towards this whole time. So.
And my DM is inundated. I got 190,000 plus on Instagram. If there's anybody that, and I'm putting you on the spot here, but you're my friend, so I don't really care. If there's anybody that needs help, whether it be testicular cancer, any motivation, I know you're busy for the fight. Can they DM you if there's any questions about this show?
Yeah. I respond. I use Facebook very, very moderately, but I'm on Instagram every day. So I respond.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, because I know maybe some people are going through some of the struggles that you went through, or they're kind of in a dark hole in their life. And I mean, I don't expect you to reply to everybody, but if you get that message and it resonates with you, or you see something that pops out to you, so I'm going to link his Instagram below here on YouTube. But what is the Instagram handle again, please?
At RYAN DICKSON 10.
Ryan Dickson 10.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Perfect.
I will respond to everybody that messages me.
And I'll put it in my story. But when this show gets released, I'll probably release it next week. But I'll try to release it before the fight, which is November 11th, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that Remembrance Day?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. This is going to be a remembrance for you once you win this thing and have your hands held high. And I hope you win, and you will win. It's not even, I hope you win. You will win this. And then we'll talk about the next step. I'll have to bring you on steps forward and your victory and how that went, because I want to bring you back. I think people will like this interview, and I think more people will want you to come back and hear this. I'm going to get feedback from people as the show grows. And I want to let everybody know I am releasing this on the Joe Kamo Show, but I'm also releasing it on my fantasy podcast, because I have millions of downloads there. Not per episode or anything like that, but we've got thousands of downloads per episode. So that's going to migrate over to this show, hopefully. So if you guys are following on the Council Man, make sure you guys are following on the Joe Kamo Show. Subscribe there on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere you get a podcast. So Ryan, man, thanks, man. It's been a good catch up. I appreciate you being here, and I wish you the best of luck for your fight, man.
Thank you, Joe. It's been too long, man. I was very glad that you reached out and invited me, and I was thinking about you the other day.
Yeah, life gets in the way, man, and I don't want to make excuses, but I've genuinely been busy. Not like busy, but busy enough to, like, my head's just, I'm honed in, man. I'm kind of in this zone, and I've got so much momentum. I don't even hang out with anybody anymore. It's all work and family when I have any free time, honestly.
Me too, buddy. I literally just train. So
that's it.
That's it.
All right, guys. Thank you. Make sure you subscribe, follow Ryan, and good luck, Ryan. We'll talk soon, everybody. Thank you.